And now it's time for a Q&A from you, the viewers. And our first question comes in from FBD, who is referring to my review of that new Wyze Pan Cam, the little cheap $30 security camera that I reviewed this week. And he's curious about the security of the device. What level of privacy is the footage encrypted at? Does the company have access to the recordings? And there is a discussion topic on the Wyze forums because there's been a lot of back and forth with the company about some of the things that the camera is doing when it's communicating on the network, including touching some servers in China occasionally. Apparently, it's using some APIs that require it to get its data from a few different places, and people have been concerned about that. And here's the deal with this camera. They do claim that it is encrypting the video before it stores it in the cloud. They're using the Amazon AWS platform, as many startups do, to store the video up there. And they say it's end-to-end encrypted. But the encryption is there maybe to prevent a hacker from getting at it in transit. But the reality is if you have a phone, download the app and have the username and password, you get access to the video. That tells me that if a government subpoenaed them, for example, they could be able to get at that footage as well, because if it's just a password protecting it, that means the company has the private keys to unlock the video, which makes it less secure than if you had the key and only you had the key. And a good example of a company that really does secure these messages in a way that they're not accessible easily is Apple with iMessage. Now, this is probably going to change a bit in a few weeks when they implement their cloud syncing feature for iMessage, but in the meantime, this is still kind of a relevant discussion. So when I'm communicating with another Apple user with iMessage, my stuff is encrypted and the key is on this phone. It's not with Apple. So what happens is I can read the message on my phone, but if maybe 2 years from now I buy myself an iPad, all of my old messages will not come over because the iPad doesn't have the security key to decrypt what the phone did. Moving forward, because the iPad has its key and the phone has its key, both devices can look at those messages and have them synced up as you roll forward with it. And this is something that Apple's been doing for a while. It's controversial to some degree because law enforcement agencies really can't get access to those messages. And I think this is why Apple is implementing a new feature to allow you to do this iMessage syncing and take some of the storage off of the device. Because I've got over a gigabyte now of iMessages stored on my phone. So this new syncing feature will store things in the cloud, but of course that will bring that private security key over to Apple, which will make it accessible to government entities. So this might not be a valid argument again in a couple of weeks once they turn that feature on. But this gives you an idea as to how you can do it the right way. The problem with this, though, is that if you ever lost the camera or somebody came in and stole your camera, you couldn't get access to the footage either if the key was actually stored on the camera itself. So there's always a trade-off between security and convenience here. But the reality is that if you don't want anyone to see what you're doing under any circumstances, then get yourself one of these home security systems that work offline, that store to a local hard drive, and then you'll be assured that nobody can look at what you're doing. But if that system gets stolen or your house burns down in the process of being robbed, you won't be able to see what happened either. So again, always a trade-off between security, convenience, and necessity, and you have to weigh that for yourself as a consumer.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters of the Black Eyed and Blues Music Hour podcast, Chris Allegretta, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.